Hello and welcome to the online demo video of M1 Data and Analytics online count and order system for the automotive ID database. I'm Nate Latimer, Head of Data Strategy.
I'm Sean Masonette, in charge of running counts and pulling orders.
So Sean's going to be on the keys, navigating us through the presentation today, and we're going to tell you what makes our database different. You're basically going to end up being the data company. You can do everything internally with a username and password that we can do in-house. So Sean? Okay, so let's dive right in. You can visit the count system by going to mydatacounts.com. It's going to pull up this home page. There's a login button down in the bottom right corner. This is where you're going to enter your username and password. If you need a username and password, just send us an email. You can email me at nathan@m1-data.com and we can get you set up. Again, no charge to sign up. You're only charged when you pull records off the count system at a cost per record rate. So go ahead and log in, Sean. So this is going to take you to the dashboard. Now on the dashboard, you can see recent counts that have been run. We created a few dummy counts here just to not disclose any of our clients' information. But every count has a count ID. So you can call in with this count ID if you ever need support, and we'll be able to go in with that count ID, pull up the count you recently ran, make sure everything was done correctly, or if you just need to reference it for whatever reason. You can also do a keyword search. So if you name it based on a dealer or whatever client company name, then you can do a keyword search by that. Then you also have several tables that are loaded on mydatacounts.com. We have our auto ID database. New connects with demographics. That's going to be like new movers, new homeowners, new businesses that happen every 24 hours. So if a new business starts yesterday, we know about it the next day. And then true new movers is just going to make sure you're honed in on just new movers. You can also drill down to whomever ran the count within your organization and view only their counts. You have the option to make it public or private. This comes in handy like if you don't want somebody else within the organization accessing your work and making an edit. However, sometimes you want to make it public if you're out of the office, so a coworker can go in and access the work for you in your absence. You've got a status here, so you can see when the count was completed with a time and date stamp. You've got total number of records that were populated in the count. Clone is a nice function, so say you have 10 dealerships, they're all the same type of dealership, like a Ford, Lincoln, Mercury, for instance. Rather than going back in and re-entering the information every single time, you can just hit clone and it auto-populates the previous count. A quick view, you can click on quick view and the information is going to populate over here on the right. You can click edit to go in and change it if there's a revision. And then finally you can just delete it off the dashboard. Over here you also have templates. So if, say, you're an auto manufacturer and you've got dealers throughout the entire country, and you're always choosing the same year, make, models, you can create a template for those year, make, models, and it will ask you for it before you run a count, which template to draw from. So let's go ahead and run accounts. Let's go to the work screen. This is where you name your count, name it whatever you want. So we're naming this one test. Go to the table, so we're going to be counting from the auto ID database. And then based on template, we have several templates, you don't need to click on that. You can assign it to whomever within your organization you want. And this is where you're marking it public or private. So let's go ahead and click submit. So over here to the left of the screen is where you query your selects. This is how you target your audience. So the most common selects you're going to have are going to be auto make, you're going to have model, year. So Sean, go ahead and click on make. And you'll see here you can just click on the makes that you want. So let's do like Chevy, Chrysler, and one other, that's fine. And you can click submit here. Now you have the option to treat counts as a selection or as a suppression. So selection if you want to count those vehicles, or suppression if you want to count everything but those vehicles. You also have a filter option. Would you like to make real quick, Sean? So you have a filter option So, if you're on like the model page, there's going to be, quite a few pages. So rather than, browsing through each page, you can just type in Toyota and it'll go to Toyota. So it saves you some time there. So let's go to auto year. Let's look at that screen. Auto year, you have exact match, so you can do, 2002, comma, 2003, comma. You can separate by comma, semicolon, spaces, or new lines. You can also copy paste. So, if you have a client that sends you a list of zip codes or years or anything that could be queried, you can also copy paste it without having to manually enter it. You've got starting with and containing this, so that'll query the data differently for you as well. And then most popular is going to be a range. Say you want to target 2005 to 2015 vehicles, you can just do a from and to. That's going to be what you use most of the time. So let's click submit. So far we've queried and populated over into the work tree 3 different vehicle makes. The years are 2005 to 2015. And let's go play around with some of the other selects here. So you've got do not call flag, or DNC. We do have phones overlaid on this file, and if you are calling them for direct marketing, you do need to scrub against the do not call list. You can scrub at multiple different levels: national, state, wireless, DMV, and there's also the bottom check mark, which is the one that you should probably use. Phones not on DNC at all across everything above. You've got mileage code. We do have odometer reading populated heavily on the file. So if you want to target somebody based on their vehicle mileage, you can do that as well. For geography, click on 5G zip, Sean. You've got several ways to enter a geography at the zip code level. You can go and choose from the drop down to whatever state. So let's go to Florida. Automatically pulls up every single zip code in Florida. Type in Fort Lauderdale, which is where our office is located. Pulls up every single zip code in Fort Lauderdale, so you don't have to go to like getzips.com. The count system does that work for you. You can go to, let's go to inner values. So this is similar to the year query that I just showed you, but you can copy paste zip codes. As long as you're separating with a comma, semicolon, spaces, or new lines, it will populate into the work tree. Let's go ahead and put a geo in here. Let's do it with radius though. Common for brick and mortar dealerships is going to be just a base centroid zip code. So let's use ours, 33309. And the number of miles is 15, is what Sean put, and it's going to go ahead and find everything within that 15 mile zip distance proximity. So let's click submit here. And now we have a geography. We've also got 9-digit zip code as an option. You've got Phipps county codes. You can do entire states. If you don't select anything at the geo level, it's going to run the entire country. So we've got some most common demographics here, like age, and we've got gender on here. You've got income levels, phone number. If you only want to count records with phones, you click the box that says only records with phones. If you need phones on a where available basis, you're going to query that on the order screen, which I'll show you later. Presence of children and risk score ranges. I want to stop and talk a little bit about how we build our risk score product. Basically what we've done, because we don't sell any credit bureau data, we are not FCRA compliant to license and resell anything that is a true credit score. So what we did is we created a risk score algorithm. So it required a ton of credit bureau data, but wasn't credit bureau data. So we were able to get extremely accurate when compared to what would be like a Beacon or FICO score, on average plus or minus 7 points. So you can get very close without having to fill out all the credit bureau paperwork, without making a firm offer of credit. And it just makes your life a lot easier, and you can still target somebody that's going to be more qualified to purchase a vehicle. And let's go down to general, Sean. So the next tab on here is general. General is going to be everything at the vehicle level. So a lot of the stuff that was in most common is going to be repeated here, but you also have class codes. So say you have a dealer that just wants to target trucks. Rather than go through every single model you think is a truck and risk losing some, you can just click on everything under class code that says truck next to it, and the account system does that work for you. Let's go to fuel type. So if you need to target hybrid vehicles or diesels or electric, you can do all of that here, because that flag is built out on the database as well. Let's go to auto style code. Now, auto style code is similar to a class code with a few different options. Like if you only want to target luxury vehicles, you can do that here. If you ever need to target, 3-door hatchbacks, that's also available. And let's go down to, let's do some of the black book stuff here. So this is very simple. It's a from and to at a dollar amount. So if you only want to target vehicles that fall between the value of, say, $10,000 and $15,000, you can do that here. And let's go down to inferred purchase date. Now, because we take in a lot of data from dealer point of service, we get a lot of that actual purchase date transaction information, which is great because you can model somebody that's going to be coming out of a finance or out of a lease by dating back 24, 36, 48 months and doing a push out. So, these people are going to be expiring over, say, like the next 6 months. Last validation date. Now that's going to be us validating the accuracy of a record. That's also us putting a time and date stamp to when we first see the record. It comes into the file. So if you want to target what we call in the industry is hotline data, you can enter a range here by clicking on from. And it pulls up a calendar, and you just put your from and to. So let's go down to masked VIN. A masked VIN is also known as a squished VIN. So, a VIN is going to have 17 digits. A squished VIN is going to be a limited version, which is the most important digits to do like an append. If it's going to be like a black book append, which now we have that built in the count system, so it's kind of irrelevant. However, if you need to send out for Kelley Blue Book values, you can pull masked VINs, which is all they require to give you that information. Let's go down to reserved one. Now, reserved one is our code for 17-digit VINs. So if you want to count only the records that have VINs, you would do field must be populated. However, not very necessary because every single record on our file now has VIN populated across 191 million records. You can also upload a file of VIN numbers if you want to suppress against them, or if you want to append additional information to them. So if all you have is VIN number available, you can upload the VINs into the count system, treat a selection, and you hit the run button, and it's going to match every single VIN that we have in the file and append information like the person's first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, year, make, model, demographic information, anything we have populated across. I want to say we're roughly 68 fields just built into Auto ID. And if you need additional fields, we have 430 more in our master consumer file, which we can run for you internally. So that's about all you need to know about VIN. Let's go to geography just to point out the additionals. Some of these you've already seen under the most common tab, but there's a few other options here like MSA. So if you want to target like a metro statistical area, like say Atlanta, for instance, or, you can do that here. And then you have zip 5 carrier routes. So if you need to go based on carrier routes, you can do that on the count system as well. So this is probably our 9th launch of this count system that we've been building over the past 7 years. So we've got a lot of customer feedback, and we've made a lot of edits, made it run very fluidly, so that we basically thought of everything, or we'd like to think so. Demographic information, this is going to be anything at the consumer level. So if you want to target people based on their general demographic information, you've got age, gender. If you want to target homeowners, you can do that. Income is repeated here, median house values, number of vehicles. That's great. Insurance companies love that. You just select 1 through 9 vehicles, and it's only going to query those households that have that many vehicles in their driveway. You also have some language selects, like Asian speaking, and there's also some ethnicity selects. So it works based on percentage. So our confidence level that these people are Asian, for instance. You also have a percentage mail response. So if you want to target known direct mail responders, you can do that on here. You've got different generations of people. Like younger generations don't really check their mail that much. Older people do. So we can actually track people that have been known to respond to direct mail campaigns. Phone flag, you can put that on here if you just want to know that there is a phone available, as opposed to outputting the phone. Then you can see that. You've got, let's get to presence of children, we've seen that. So risk score ranges, risk score actual values. This gives you a correlation to what would be a credit score. So let's go to risk score ranges, Sean. So if you see here, if you click A, it correlates to a great credit score of 820 or higher. So it gives you basically a benchmark to reference. Let's go down to advanced filters. Address, don't really need to cover too much on that. Advanced filters is where you can upload your suppression files or files that you want to append additional information to outside of the VIN level. So you have a few different options here. As long as the header row that you upload matches the syntax that you select here. So if you're doing a suppression at the individual level, you're going to want your header row in Excel to be first name in the first column, last name in the second column, so on and so forth, and it will populate into the work tree as an uploaded suppression or append file. You've got the household level here, which is last name, address. You've got the address level if you just want to upload address, city, state, zip. So it gives you a few different options here. And let's go ahead and just click the run button, Sean. So right now what we're doing is we're running a count without a dedupe. So we're counting the number of vehicles. This is going to be a VIN level count. And as you can see here, we just populated 100,399 records of 3 different vehicle makes in a 15-mile radius from 33309. That's targeting vehicles 2005 to 2015. So that is exactly how you run counts. And we'll move on in a quick moment here to placing orders as well. So now that we're at the order screen, you can name the order whatever you want. Typically, our clients will name it based on their client, the dealer. They will name it after a PO number or an IO number. And very simply here, then you have the option, if say you've got 100,399 records, if you need to pull an nth, which is a true feather or sampling across this count universe, of say 10,000 records, you just click nth select and enter 10,000, and it's going to pull 10,000 records evenly spread across this available universe. You also have the option to do top in. Now what top in is if you want to radiate out from the base zip code. If you did a radius, you can pull the closest 10,000 records from the base zip code. You also have a breakdown option here. So sometimes you'll have a client that will send you, certain quantities per zip code that they want to pull. So you can click on the breakdown here. But first we're going to create a breakdown. And this is your breakdown screen. So if you want to send your clients a very simple count, you can use list breakdown, and it's going to be zip code total in an Excel file. Or if you want to go to hybrid breakdown or matrix breakdown, it gives you a pivot table. Hybrid breakdown is going to give you the most detail. So you can do 5-digit zip code, which is your primary fields. So that's going to be your rows in Excel, and then your columns will be your secondary fields. So you can do like makes across the top. And you also have here show distance from zip code. So if you have that bubble select, that will give you that zip distance proximity and show you how far away the data is populating from the base zip code. You click Run here, and the breakdown is going to be processed. The breakdowns take about the same amount of time to process as this count number did earlier. So we'll give that a few minutes. And as you can see, it gives you a screenshot preview of the count breakdown. You've got your zip codes over here. You've got city, because we checked those two in primary fields. You've got the distance as it populates around the centroid. And then you've got your mix across the top, Chevy, Chrysler, Dodge. And the count system automatically sends you an email after this breakdown is populated, as well as the original count, so that you're going to have the exported breakdown Excel file attached to the email that you can just forward on to your dealer. And you also have an export button here. If you want to export it from the count system, it'll just go ahead and create an Excel file. The only other thing I want to touch on is your dedupe. So if you want to target one vehicle per address, you want to dedupe by 5-digit zip code and full address. That way, if they have a Chrysler, a Chevy, and a Dodge in the driveway, you're not sending 3 mail pieces, you're only sending 1. So you click save there, and then you just rerun the count, and that count number is going to drop, obviously. And that's pretty much everything on the count system for running counts and placing orders. We do offer telephone support. Anytime you need us, you can call in with the count ID, or if you just want a training demo that's live, we can set up a go-to meeting, and we can run counts that are going to be more custom tailored to your business and your needs. So if you want access, again, send me an email. My name is Nathan Latimer, and the email address is nathan@m1-data.com. And again, to visit the count system, it's mydatacounts.com. In terms of pricing, we can discuss that on a go-to meeting. But to give you an idea, we charge per record. The more records you purchase per month, the cheaper your per record rate is. So there's a sign-up form. If you want to get access, fill out the form. We'll retrieve that on our end, and somebody will contact you shortly. Thank you so much. We look forward to doing business with you.